Hello guys, welcome back to the second video that is related to research and academia. In this video, we are going to talk about research defense, how not to struggle during your VIVA or the final research defense. My name is Dr. Hassan Mahmoud Abu Hasna, School of Education, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, University Technology, Malaysia. I'm going to be sharing with you my own personal experience during the VIVA. And when talking about VIVA or proposal defense, let's divide it into two main categories. You as a presenter, what skills that you need to have as number one, and then the structure of the slides, the content you are going to present. We are going to talk about that in this video in details. So first, we are going to talk about the personality of the presenter, him or herself, and then I'm going to share with you in the second part of this video my own slides to get to know what to include, what not to include, because as we know, you are given a specific time, most probably 20 to 30 minutes max. During this time, you are going to present 200, maybe 250 pages of thesis or a dissertation. Okay guys, let's talk about the first part of the video, which is the presenter, him or herself. Now, first of all, let's always remember the saying that a good presenter, bad thesis pass, bad presenter, good thesis fail, which shows us the importance of your skills as a presenter. First thing to have during the presentation is we need all of your confidence. Do not lack confidence during the presentation, VIVA presentation, or else it's going to be a big problem for you. Try to master up all your confidence in these following 20 or 30 minutes because you are going to need it. Because during the VIVA, the committee are going to take you out of your comfort zone. They are going to tease you. They are going to ask you tough questions, but it's all related to your work. You have done this work. You have spent at least 2 to 3 years of your life doing and investigating this specific topic. So take your time, take it easy, answer your question, make it a friendly environment. Do not be defensive. All right, this is all related to you as a presenter. Number two is remember you are an expert in this field, so try to make it an equal committee here. You and the committee are from the same field and they are actually welcoming you as a scholar in their field. So try to make it equal by making the whole environment as a conversation. Discuss with them, explain to them, okay? It's your time to show your work. You have spent 2 to 3 years, most probably more than that. So do not waste all these years from your life because you are afraid, or if you are anxious, or if you are not confident enough. You need your confidence now, all right? Even if you are not confident enough, fake it. You need to fake it to let you pass this 2 or 3 hours. Once again, you have been working in this particular topic for 3 years of your life. Nobody else knows what you know. This is your own work. This is your own writing. You need to defend your own work. And if they ask you some tricky questions, you need to relax, take your time, answer them with what you know. Now, there is actually some tips that you might do before the VIVA, before you even go to the VIVA, and these tips are going to help you a lot to understand the whole thing. First thing is reread your thesis again. Do not wait until the end of time. Read your thesis twice, 3 times, 4 times, as many as you can, because believe me, every time you are going to read your thesis again, you are going to find some typos, grammatical mistakes, and so on. So read your thesis, master it up, know everything about your structure of the thesis and so on. Read each chapter, summarize each chapter with 1 page, and then keep these pages with you wherever you go. try to read it again and again. Try to do a mock-up sessions with your friends, with your colleagues, with your supervisor. This is going to prep you out mentally and practically as well to present your VIVA again. Training is the best way to overcome low confidence and anxiety. Training can get you master your presentation. When you master your presentation, there is no low confidence because you know everything that you're going to say. Before the VIVA, try to ask your colleague and friends around from your own department what is the most common question they usually ask. When you know these kind of questions, you can easily answer them. Get to know your examiners. Study them. Go to their profile, their pages, know their publications. Try to read at least one or two from their publications work. Try how they critique things. By doing so, you are going to know what kind of questions they are going to ask you during the VIVA. Now this is before the VIVA session. What about during the VIVA? Try to make it like a discussion environment. It's not like question and answer, and do not answer by yes or no. Try to discuss, make a conversation. If any question they could ask you and you say yes, no, this is going to be bad for you. This is a bad way to present or to defend your thesis or dissertation. Now examiners need to know and need to assure that this is actually your own work. Show them how it's done in all aspects. You are required to present your thesis in a way that will cut it short for them to add more questions. So try to know what kind of questions they could ask, and then answer these questions before they even ask these questions. For example, there are so many common questions during the VIVA. What is your contribution of this study? What is the theoretical basis of your study? By knowing these kind of questions, try to answer them during the presentation. It's going to cut it short for them and make them relieved as examiners, because they now know you actually know what's going on in your thesis or dissertation. Now, during the VIVA, you need to stay calm. Do not rush answering the questions. Take your time. Use some phrases to, calm you down, like, oh, this is a good question. Take your time. If you are thirsty, take a sip of water, relax. They are there to help you out and welcome you into the academia world. So take your time. Do not be defensive. Do not argue so much on nonsense information or whatever in your thesis. Last thing about the presentation during the VIVA, you need to be ready for some tricky questions. Are you sure about that? Is that even possible? And be ready for some negative comments as well. If you get questions like that, do not panic. It's normal. They need to make sure that you are an expert and you are a schooler that spent 3 years or 4 years working on this topic to make sure this is have done correctly. So do not panic. Take it in a positive way. And if you get a negative comment as well, consider this negative comment as questions and answer them. By doing so, I believe that you are going to enjoy the VIVA session. It's going to be easy and it's going to be passed, without any, concerns or worries. Now, let's move on to the second part of this video, which is the structure of the VIVA. And I'm going to share with you my own slides, and I'm going to show you what have I included in my slides, the main components that I have included, and explain each one in details. Alright guys, so here is actually an example of the slides, the content that you need to include or you need to work on during the VIVA. And for the first slide, it's actually only the title of the thesis, your name, your supervisor name, and the university and school name. Second, you need to actually point out or highlight the main headlines of this presentation. For example, here we have the introduction, background of the problem, problem statement, research objectives, and so on. And as we can see here, this is the introduction slide. It's one slide only. One of the very important advices when preparing your own slides, avoid using so many words. If you can use figures, tables, this is going to actually make it easy for you to explain. PowerPoint means you only need to mention the points and then you can explain it by your own words. Now for the problem of the statement, this is a very important slide. It needs to be precise, needs to be summarized, and needs to be explained well when you actually present main categories, which is the target, the gap, the solution that this study is going to actually present. Obviously, for the research objectives, I have already mentioned all of them, as well as for the research questions. Now for the theoretical framework, my advice to you is always use figures and tables, and then you can explain it to them. As you can see here, this was my theoretical framework. I have managed to put it as a figure, and then I would actually explain about the theoretical framework. Now obviously, if you are from a social science background, you need to actually relay your study in a theory, and then you need to mention the justifications why this particular theory, why not other theories. So you need to mention the theory, and then you need to justify why this is actually the appropriate theory to use in your study. And then based on the theoretical framework, you need to build your own conceptual framework, and same goes to conceptual framework. Do not use phrases, do not use sentences, only put the figure, and then you can explain about the whole thing. Okay, now for chapter 2. Chapter 2, I personally do not advise you to put any slides for chapter 2, or if you want to mention anything about chapter 2, just like I did here, one slide, put the headlines, and do not waste any time explaining about chapter 2. Just tell them, okay, this is my chapter 2, and I have mentioned about this and that. Now for chapter 3, which is the research methodology. Now this is very, very important. You need to mention everything in research methodology smoothly, step by step. If you have more than one phase, then you go phase number 1, phase number 2, phase number 3, because they need to understand how have you done your research by understanding the methodology of the research. Now for the research methodology, it should be actually related to your questions. So you need to mention all your research questions, what instrument you have used, what statistical analysis that you have used, and to what phase of the study this question belongs. Here, as I mentioned before, the phases of the study as a whole. So if you can put it in one figure and then show it to them, or a table, and then show it to them, it's going to be very easy for them to follow you all around the way. Same goes to the results as we discussed during the methodology. Methodology, we have discussed number 1, question number 2, question number 3, and then question number 4. So same goes to the findings as well. You need to show the findings for each question and then explain about the table within like 1 or 2 lines. So I have actually skipped some of the tables because it's actually the same. We have to show all the results for all the questions, but here, because I had interviews as well, in addition to the quantitative, so it was mix, quantitative and qualitative. I have finished showing the quantitative part, and then I have actually highlighted the most important outcomes from the interview, which is the qualitative part of the study. And then finally, with the research contribution, this is actually the outcome of your study. You need to justify, you need to show them, explain to them why did you do this research, and this is going to be the fruit of your research. Okay guys, so far so good. We have shared some of the very good information about both the presenter of the VIVA and the structure of the VIVA as well. So I really hope that you have liked this video and it was helpful for you. And if you do so, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so that we can share more videos regarding academia. With that being said, take care and bye bye.